Welcome springtime. Here we are in the Pacific Northwest at this time of year in the week of the equinox. And I wanted to send out a video to give a little context to the seasons, because this year I'm talking a lot more about being in alignment with the seasons, the aspects of nature, and the learning that comes from our receiving the information of this time. And our bodies are built, they're designed to be receivers of information and frequency. And the frequency is changing. The winter time is definitely a time of inward motion, downward motion, rooting. There's a dormant aspect that's time of for renewal and resourcing and recharge. A time to work through our grief and our fears. If we don't have the opportunity to do that, then as spring arises and the energy starts to come up, as we witness around us, the grasses are coming up, the crocuses are coming up, the tulips are coming up. There are early spring bloomers like the daphne behind me, and the leaves are coming out of the trees. This energy that's rising can be agitating to the system if we haven't had the opportunity to root. So the seeds that I planted a couple weeks ago, they're waiting for the right light, for the right temperature of the soil, the right moisture. And the first action that they take is they sprout a root downward in a downward motion. And it is only until that has happened that they sprout up. They sprout upward, and then that little sprout or seedling comes above the surface. So there's much to learn from this. If we haven't had that descent and that grounding time of winter, then we can feel more agitated at this time, off center. A lot of traumas and fears from the past will be in kind of on coming up to the surface of our system. And so the rising energy of spring without the root of the winter causes more upper body symptoms, and I'm seeing that a lot in my clinic and always do during this time of year, whether that's allergies or headache, dizziness, increase in agitation, that restlessness, sometimes insomnia. So those kinds of things tend to either return or become amplified at this time. And there are a lot of ways to work with that with our own bodies. And one of the main ways is to be and live in alignment with the season. It is a season that is ruled by the liver, which is an organ system in East Asian medicine that has to do with a vast amount of functionality, and not only what Western medicine views as the functionality of the liver. So many other things, and the one aspect that I want to talk about is that the archetype of the liver is the free and easy wanderer. So it's the one who walks through life moving like an undulating river. And that's not really our modern reality. Like, we walk through life or drive through life in lanes and cubicles and a square calendar and lots of planning, and there's a rigidity to the structure of that. Busy, we're all really busy, and so we're missing that free and easy wanderer. I was in my late teens and early 20s, and I traveled the world extensively, and this was before cell phones and Airbnb and like the Uber planning of journeys and vacations or travel. And at that time I would just go and land somewhere and allow kind of that undulating capacity to move me through a place. And there was a lot of magic that happened from that. But the memory of that, the cellular memory of that time, is very useful for me to bring to the forefront, and how now I know the importance of it, and I have days of the week or a few hours a day where I allow myself this unplanned time. And this time of year in the spring is a really important time to do that, because of the liver. The archetype of the liver wants that. Our bodies are by design wanting to move in relationship to our context and our environment. We're not built to be in boxes. And so if you can give yourself, kind of create a moment in the structure of your day, even 20 minutes to go out and take a walk that has no destination or no plan, I'm very sensory oriented, so often I'll take a walk and I'll just allow myself to be guided by my nose and the aroma of the late winter bloomers, which is really fantastic at this time. And it helps my whole system remember where I am in time and place. And that's very grounding. It's a very grounding aspect, and it's also enlivening. So again, these two directionalities of the season in both directions. So again, if you didn't have the time to rest this winter, which is not our social norm, is to rest in the winter, then it's important at this time to ground and to be in contact with the world around you, whether that's tactile, whether that's sensory, whether that's watching the pattern of the sun and the sunlight, allowing your eyeballs to be in connection with the moonlight. These are all things that you can do out in the world. If you're homebound because of illness or injury or ability, the list of things that I offer in the article around how to align yourself with this season can be done pretty much anywhere. And a lot of them have to do with the color green, because that's obviously the color of this season. One of my favorite greens is the native plum. That is one of the first plants in this Pacific Northwest climate to leaf out. And that green is like medicine. If you just look at that green, or you look at the fresh green of spring, it's a medicine for your system at this time. And so a lot of the things that I mentioned are like eating green things, growing your own sprouts if you can, taking in a nettle supplement, because it's pretty much across the board good for everyone at this time of year. The nettles are coming up. We're about to do a sacred reciprocity harvest of the nettles, make pesto, dry them, make some tea. They're very much the plant mascot of this time of year. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I am so grateful to be in relationship with you and be able to offer this more contextual view, but hopefully very practical view of the seasons and the cycle of the year. And I will keep sharing information with you. Have a blessed day. Take care of your sweet body. You are precious.